What is up, good people? How y'all doing? We are back for yet another Vector Space Talks. I'm super excited to be with you today because we're going to be talking about RAGs and RAG systems, and from the most basic naive RAG all the way to the most advanced RAG. We've got it covered with our guest of honor, Asad. Where you at, my man? There he is. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, everything is fine. Just
Excellent.
ready.
Excellent. Well, I know we were talking before we went live, and you are currently in India. It is very late for you, so I appreciate you coming on here and doing this with us. You are also, for those who do not know, a senior engineer for AI and machine learning at KiwiTech. Can you break down what KiwiTech is for us real fast?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, KiwiTech is actually a software development, was actually a software development company focusing on software development, iOS, and mobile apps. And right now, we are an all in all focusing more on generative AI, machine learning, and computer vision projects. So, I am heading the AI part here. So, and we are having loads of projects here with from basic to advanced rags, from naive to visual rags. So basically, I'm doing rag in and out from morning to evening. Yeah,
You can't get away from it, huh, man? That is
yeah.
great.
Everywhere there is rag. Even the machine learning part, which was previously done by me, is
Mhm.
all now into rags and generative AI.
Yeah.
It is just a sub. Machine learning is just at the background now.
Yeah. It's funny. I understand the demand for it because people are trying to see where they can get value in their companies with the new generative AI advancements.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a lot about advanced rags, considering the audience that we have. I would love to hear about the visual rags also, because that sounds very exciting. Can we start with the visual rags and what exactly you are doing, what you're working on when it comes to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So initially, when I started working, so you all might be aware with the concept of frozen rags, the normal and the basic rag. There is a text retrieval system, you just query your data and all those things. So what is happening nowadays is that the the, the clients or the projects in which I am particularly working on are having more of multimedia or multimodal approach. So that is what is happening. So they want their apps or their LLM apps to be more engaging rather than a mere chatbot, because if we go on to the natural language or the normal English language, I mean, interacting by means of a video or interacting by means of a photo, like avatar generation, anything like that, so that has become more popular or and is gaining more popularity. And if I talk about specifically about visual rags, so the project which I am working on is, say for example, there is a family tree type of app in which you have an account right now. So you are recording day videos every day, right? Like whatever you are doing, for example, you are singing a song, you're walking in the park, you are eating, anything like that, and you're recording those videos and just uploading them on that app. But what do you want, like your future generations can do some sort of query, like what was my grandfather like, what was uh, my uncle like, anything, my friend like, any, it is not restricted to a family, it can be friends also anywhere. So, and these are all US based projects, not Indian based projects.
Okay.
So so you go and query and it returns a video about your grandfather who has already died. He is not you can see him speaking about that particular thing, so it becomes really engaging. So this is something which is called visual rag, which I am working right now on this.
I love that use case. So basically, it's I get to be closer to my family that may or may not be here with us right now because the RAG can pull writing that they had. It can pull video of other family members talking about it. It can pull videos of when my cousin was born, that type of
Yeah.
stuff.
anything from cousin to family. You can add any numbers of members of your family. You can give access to any number of people who can have after you're not there, like a sort of a nomination or a delegation type of thing. So that is, I mean, actually it is a very big project,
Hmm.
involves multiple transcription models, video transcription models. It also involves actually the databases, and I'm using Quadrant, proud of it.
Yeah.
So in that, so and Quadrant is working seamlessly in that. So I mean, at the end there is a vector search, but at the background there is more of visual rag, and people want to communicate through videos and photos. So that is coming into picture more.
Well, talk to me about multimodal RAG. And I know it's a bit of a hairy situation because if you're trying to do vector search with videos, it can be a little bit more complicated than just vector search with text, right? So, what are some of the unique challenges that you've seen when it comes to multimodal RAG?
The first challenge dealing with multimodal rags is actually the accent, because it can be varying accent. The problem with the transcription, one of the problems or the challenges which I have faced in this is that lack of proper transcription models. If you are if you are able to get a proper transcription model, then if that I want to deploy that model in the cloud, say for example an AWS cloud, so that AWS cloud is costing heavy on the pockets. So managing infra is one of the part. I mean, I'm talking in a highly scalable production environment. I'm not talking about a research environment in which you can do anything on a collab notebook and just go ahead with that. So whenever it comes to the client part or the delivery part, it becomes more critical. And even there were points then that we have to entirely overhaul the entire approach, which was working very fine when we were doing it on the dev environment. Like the OpenAI's Whisper, we started with that OpenAI's Whisper. It worked fine, the transcription was absolutely fantastic, but we couldn't go into the production part with that.
Because it was the word error rate was too high, or because it was too slow? What made it not allow you to go into production?
It was the word error rate was also high. It was very slow when it was being deployed on an AWS instance.
Hmm.
And the thing is that the costing part, because usually these are startups or mid startup, if I talk about the business point of view, not the tech point of view. So these companies usually offer these type of services for free, and
Yeah.
on the basis of these services they try to raise funding. So they want something which is actually optimizing their cost as well. So what I personally feel, although AWS is massively scalable, but I don't prefer AWS at all until and unless there are various other options coming out like Salad. I had some interactions with Titan machine learning also,
Uh-huh.
but it was also fine. But Salad is one of the best as of now.
Yeah, unless you get that free AWS credits from the startup program, it can get very expensive very quickly. And even if you do have the free AWS
Yeah.
credits, it still gets very expensive very quickly. So I understand what you're saying is basically it was unusable because of the cost and the inability to figure out. It was more of a product problem
Yeah.
on if you could figure out how to properly monetize it. But then you had technical problems like word error rate being really high.
Yes.
The speed and latency was just unbearable, I can imagine. So unless somebody makes a query and they're ready to sit around for a few minutes and let that query come back to you with a video or some documents, whatever it may be. Is that what I'm understanding on this? And again, this is for the family tree use case that you're talking
3 years,
about,
the
right?
family tree use case. So what was happening in that case is, and a video is uploaded, it goes to the admin for an approval actually. So I mean, you can that is where they were restricting the costing part as far as the project was concerned. It's because you cannot upload any random videos and they will select that. Just some sort of moderation was also there. As in, when the admin approves those videos, that videos goes on to the transcription pipeline. They are transcribed via an say a video to text model like the OpenAI's Whisper. So what was happening initially, all the research was done with OpenAI's, but at the end when deployment came, we have to go with DeepGram and
Mhm.
Assembly AI. That
Yeah.
was the place where these models were excelling far better than OpenAI. And I'm a
Interesting.
big advocate of open source models, so also I try to leverage those, but it was not pretty working in production environment.
Fascinating. So you had that's one of your use cases, right? And that's
Yeah.
very much the multimodal RAG use case. Are all of your use cases multimodal, or do you have other ones too?
No, all are not multimodal. There are few multimodal. There are few text-based or naive RAG also. So what? Like for example, there is one use case uh, coming, which is sort of a job search which is happening, a job search for a radiology section. I mean, not, a very specialized type of client it is, and they're doing some sort of job search, matching the modalities and procedures, and it is sort of a temporary job, like you have two shifts ready, uh, two shifts begin, just some. So that is very critical when somebody is putting their procedures or what in, like for example, they are specializing in x-rays, in in some sort of medical procedures, and that is matching with the employer's requirement. So that is where the accuracy matters the most. Accurate, and in this case Quadrant has proved just commendable in giving excellent search results. The other way around is that in this case is there were some challenges related to the quality of results also, because so progressing from frozen rag to advanced rag, like adopting methods like re-ranking, semantic chunking. I have started using semantic chunking, so it has proved very beneficial as far as the quality of results is concerned.
Well, talk to me more about. I'm trying to understand this use case and why a RAG is useful for the job matching. You have doctors who have specialties and they understand, all right, they're maybe it's an orthopedic surgeon who is very good at a certain type of surgery. And then you have different jobs that come online. They need to be matched with those different jobs. And so where does the RAG come into play? Because it seems like it could be solved with machine learning as opposed to AI.
Yeah, it could have been solved through machine learning, but the type of modalities that, or the type of, say, the type of jobs which they were posting are too much specialized, so it needed some sort of contextual matching also. So there
Oh, I see.
there comes the use case for the RAG in this place. The contextual matching was required initially. An approach for machine learning was on the table, but it was done with. It
Yeah,
was not working.
I get it. I get it. So now talk to me. This is really important that you said accuracy needs to be very high in this use case. How did you make sure that the accuracy was high besides I think you said chunking, looking at the chunks, looking at how you were doing that? What were some other methods you took to make sure that the accuracy was high?
I mean, as far as the accuracy is concerned, so what I did was that my focus was on the embedding model actually when I started with what type of choice of embedding model. So initially, my team started with open source model available readily on Hugging Face, looking at some sort of leaderboard metrics, some sort of models specializing in medical say data, all those things. But even I was curious that the embedding models which were specializing in medical data, they were also not returning good results,
Huh.
and they were mismatching. When there was a tabular format, I created a visualization in which the cosine similarity of various models were compared. So all were lagging behind until I went ahead with cohere re-rankers. They were the best in that case, although they are not trained onto that, and just an API call was required rather than loading that whole model onto the local.
Interesting. Oh, all right. And so then were you doing certain time so you had the cohere re-ranker that gave you a big up. Were you doing any kind of monitoring of the output also, or evaluation of the output, and if so, how?
Yes, for evaluation, for monitoring, we readily use Arrays AI, because I'm a huge advocate of Llama Index also, because it has made everything's so easier. I mean, versus LangChain. I mean, if I talk about my personal preference, not regarding any bias, because I'm not linked with anybody, I'm not promoting it here, but they are having the best thing which I like about Llama Index and why I use it is that anything which is coming into play as far as the new research is going on, like for example, a recent research paper was with the raft retrieval augmented fine tuning, which was released by the Microsoft, and it is right now available on archive. So barely few days after, they just implemented it in the library, and you can readily start using it rather than creating your own structure.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, so one of my part is that I go through the research papers first, then coming on to a result. So a research based approach, it is required in actually selecting the models, because because every day there is new advancement going on in rags, and you cannot figure out what would be fine for you, and you cannot do hit and trial the whole day.
Yes. That is a great point. So then if we break down your tech stack, what does it look like? You're using Llama Index, you're using Arise for the monitoring, you're using Quadrant for your vector database, you have the Cohere re-ranker, you are using GPT 3.5.
No, it's GPT-4, not 3.5.
Okay. You needed to go with GPT-4 because everything else wasn't good enough?
Yes, because one of the context length was one of the most thing, but regarding our production, we have been readily using since the last 1.5 months. I have been readily using Mixtral. I
Mm.
have been I have been using, because there's one more challenge coming onto the rack, because there's one more. I'll give you an example of one more use case. Uh, it is the I'll name the project also because I'm allowed by my company. It is a big project by the name of Quasar Markets. It is a US based company, and they are actually creating a financial market type of chatbot, QUASAR, Quasar. You can search it also, and they give you access to various public databases also, and some paid databases also. They have a membership plan. So we are entirely handling the front end, back end. I'm not handling the front end and the back end, I'm handling the AI part in that. So one of the challenges is the inference timing, the timing in which the users are getting queries when it is hitting the database. Say for example, there is a database, a publicly available database called Fred of US government. So when user can select in that app and go and select the Fred database and want to ask some questions regarding that. So that is, in this place there is no vectors, there are no vector databases. It is going without that. So
Uh-huh.
we are following some keyword approach. We are extracting keywords, classifying the queries in simple or complex, then hitting it again to the database, sending it on the live API, getting results. So there are multiple hits going on. So what happened? This all multiple hits which were going on, they reduced the timing, and I mean the user experience was being badly affected as the time for the retrieval has gone up. And if you're going any query and inputting any query, it is giving you results in say 1 minute. You wouldn't be waiting for 1 minute for a result.
Not at all.
So this is one of the challenge for a GPU based approach, and in the background everything was working on GPT 4, even
Uh,
not 3.5. The I mean the costliest.
yeah.
So here I started with uh, the LPU approach, the Grok. I mean it's magical.
Yeah.
I can say I have been implementing Grok since the last many days, and it has been magical. The chatbots are running blazingly fast, but there are some shortcomings also. You cannot control the temperature.
Uh,
If you have lesser control on hallucination, that is one of the challenges which I'm facing. So that is why I'm not able to deploy Grok into production right now, because hallucination is one of the concern for the client, also for anybody who wants to have a RAG on their own data, say, or AI on their own data. They won't expect the LLM to be creative. So that is one of the challenges. So what I found, that although many of the tools that are available in the market right now, day in and day out, there are more researches, but most of the things which are coming up in our feeds, or more, I mean they are coming as a sort of a marketing gimmick. They're not working actually on the ground.
tell me more about that. What other stuff have you tried that's not working? Because I feel that same way. I've seen it, and I also have seen what feels like some people basically they release models for marketing purposes as opposed to actual valuable models going out there. So which ones, I mean, Grok, knowing about Grok and where it excels and what some of the downfalls are is really useful. It feels like this idea of temperature, being able to control the knob on the temperature and then trying to decrease the hallucinations is something that is fixable in the near future. So maybe it's like months that we'll have to deal with that type of thing for now. But I'd love to hear what other things you've tried that were not like you thought they were going to be when you were scrolling Twitter or LinkedIn.
Should I name them?
Please. So we all know we don't have to spend our time on them.
I'll start with OpenAI. The clients don't like GPT-4
Oh,
to be
interesting.
used in there, just because the primary concern is the cost. Secondary concern is the data privacy. And the third is that, I mean, I'm talking from the client's perspective, not the tech stack perspective.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They
totally.
consider OpenAI as a more of a marketing gimmick, although GPT-4 gives good results. I'm aware of that. But the clients are not in favor. But the thing is that I do agree that GPT-4 is still the king of LLMs right now. So they have no
Yeah.
option. No option to get the better results. But Mixtral is performing very good as far as the hallucinations are concerned. Just keeping the parameter temperature is equal to 0 in a Python code does not make the hallucination go off. It is one of my key takeaways. I have been bogging my head. Just, I'll give you an example. A chatbot, uh, 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 there is a there's one of the use case in which there's a big publishing company. I cannot name that company right now,
Uh-huh.
and they want the entire system of books since the last 20-25 years to be just converted into a rack pipeline, and the people get query. The the basic problem which I was having is handling a hello when a user types hello.
Uh-huh.
So when you type an hello,
It
it
gives
is
you
not,
back a book.
it gives you back a book. Even it is giving you back sometimes a hello, I am this, and then again some information what you have written in the prompt. It is giving you everything there. I will answer according to this, I will answer according to this. So even if the temperature is 0 inside the code, even so, that included lots of prompt engine. So prompt engineering is what I feel is one of the most important trades which will be popular, which is becoming popular. And somebody is having specialization in prompt engineering. I mean, they can control the way how an LLM behaves, because it behaves weird way. Like in this use case, I was using Grok and Mixtral. So to control Mixtral in such a way, it was heck lot of a work. Although we made it at the end, but it was heck lot of a work in with prompt engineering part.
And this was Mistral large.
Mixtral 7 bits,
Oh,
8 by
okay.
7
Yeah.
bits.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the trade-off that you have to deal with, and it wasn't fine-tuned at all.
No, it was not fine tuned because we were constructing a rack pipeline, not a fine tuned application. Because right now the even the customers are not interested in getting a fine tuned model
Hmm.
because it costs them, and they are more interested in a contextual, like a rack contextual pipeline.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. So basically, this is very useful to think about. I think we all understand and we've all seen that GPT-4 does best.
Yeah.
If we can, we want to get off of it as soon as possible and see how far we can go down the line or how far we can go on the difficulty spectrum, because as soon as you start getting off GPT-4, then you have to look at those kind of issues with, like, okay, now it seems to be hallucinating a lot more. How do I figure this out? How can I prompt it? How can I tune my prompts? How can I have a lot of prompt templates or a prompt suite to make sure that things work? And so, are you using any tools for keeping track of prompts? I know there's a ton out there.
uh, we initially started with the PEF, parameter efficient fine tuning for prompts,
Uh-huh.
but nothing is working 100%.
Interesting.
Nothing works 100%. It is, as far as the prompting is concerned, it goes on to a hit and trial at the end.
Hmm.
Huge wastage of time in doing prompt engineering. Even if you are following the exact prompt template given on the Hugging Face, given on the model card, anywhere, it will behave, it will act, but after some time.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
that's
Mixtral is performing very good, very very good. Mixtral 8 by 7 bits. It's very
mhm,
good.
awesome.
The summarization part is very strong. It gives you responses at par with GPT-4.
Nice. Okay. And you don't have to deal with any of those data concerns that your customers have.
Yeah, I'm coming on to that only. So the next part was the data concern. So they want either now or in future the localization of LLMs. I have been doing it with readily with Llama CPP and Olama right now. Olama is very good. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Olama right now, and it is performing very good as far as the localization and data privacy is concerned. Because at the end, what you are selling, it makes thing. I mean, at the end, it is sales. So even if the client is having data of their customers, they want to make their customers assured that their data is safe. So that is with the
Yeah.
localization only. So they want to gradually go into that place. So I want to bring here a few things to summarize what I said. Localization of LLMs is one of the concern right now, is a big market. Second is quantization of models.
Oh, interesting.
In quantization of models, whatever. So I perform scalar quantization and binary quantization, both using bits and bytes. Various other techniques also, but the bits and bytes was the best. Scalar quantization is performing better. Binary quantization, the maximum compression or maximum lossy function is there, so it is not, it is giving poor results. So scalar quantization is working very fine. It runs on CPU also, it gives you good results. Because whatever projects which we are having right now, or even in the markets also, they are not having huge corpus of data right now, but they will eventually scale. So they want something right now. So that quantization works. So quantization is one of the concerns. People want to dodge AWS. They don't
Huh.
want to go to AWS, but it is there. They don't have any other way. So that is why they want AWS. So that's the reason.
And is that because of costs or is
Yeah,
it
the
because of
cost.
lock-in? Yeah.
Cost. The
Hmm.
cost is the main part.
Yeah, they understand that things can get out of hand real quick if you're using AWS and you start using different services. I think it's also worth noting that when you're using different services on AWS, it may be a very similar service, but if you're using SageMaker endpoints on AWS, it's like a lot more expensive than just an EKS endpoint.
Minimum cost for a startup for just the GPU, bare minimum is minimum $450. Minimum. It's $450 even without, just on the testing phases or the development phases, even when it has not gone into production. So that gives a dent to the client also.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So it's also, and this is even including trying to use like Trainium or Inferentia and all of that stuff. You know those services?
I I know those services, but I've not readily tried those services. I'm right now in the process of trying Salad also for
Uh-huh.
inference, and they are very very cheap right now.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, cool. So if you could wave your magic wand and have something be different when it comes to your work, your day in, day out, especially because you've been doing a lot of rags, a lot of different kinds of rags, a lot of different use cases with rags. Where do you think you would get the biggest uptick in your performance, your ability to just do what you need to do? How could rags be drastically changed? Is it something that you say, oh, the hallucinations, if we didn't have to deal with those, that would make my life so much easier. If I didn't have to deal with prompts, that would make my life infinitely easier. What are some things like where in 5 years do you want to see this field be?
Yeah, you figured it right. The hallucination part is one of the concerns, or biggest concerns with the client when it comes to the RAG, because what we see on LinkedIn and what we see on places, it gives you a picture that it controls hallucination, and it gives you answer that I don't know anything about this, as mentioned in the context, but it does not really happen when you come to the production. It gives you information like you are developing a rag for a publishing company, and it is giving you where is how is New York like. It gives you information on that also. even if you have controlled anything and everything. So that is one of the things which needs to be toned down as far as the RAG is concerned. Pricing is the biggest concern right now, because there are very few players in the market as far as the inference is concerned, and they are just dominating the market with their own rates. So this is one of the pain points. And the I'll also want to highlight the popular vector databases. There are many: Pinecone, VV8, many things. So they are actually, the problem with many of the vector databases is that they work fine, they are scalable. This is common. But the problem is that they are not easy to use. So that is why I always use Quadrant, not because Quadrant is sponsoring me, not because I'm doing a job with Quadrant, but Quadrant is having the ease of use. And it I have I have trained people in my team who specialize with Quadrant, and they were initially using VV8 and Pinecone. I mean, you can do also store vectors in those databases, but it is not, especially the latest development with with Quadrant is the fast embed, which they just now released, and it made my work a lot easier by using the ONNX Onyx approach rather than a PyTorch based approach, because there was one of the projects in which we were deploying uh, embedding model on an AWS server, and it was running continuously, and minimum uh, minimum utilization of RAM is 6 GB even when it is not doing any sort of vector embedding. So fast embed has so Quadrant is playing a huge role. I should acknowledge them. And one more thing which I would not like to use is LangChain. I have been using it, so I don't want to use that LangChain, because it did not serve any purpose for me, especially in the production. It serves purpose in the research phase when you are releasing any notebook. Say you have done this and that's that. It does not works well in production, especially for me. Llama Index works fine, works well.
You haven't played around with anything else, have you? Like Haystack
Yeah,
or
Haystack I have been playing out around, but Haystack is lacking functionalities. It is working well, I would say it is working well, but it lacks some functionalities. They need to add more things as compared to Llama Index.
and of course the hottest one on the block right now is DSPy, right? Have you messed
Yeah.
around with that at all?
DSPy, actually, DSPy, I I have messed with DSPy, but the thing is that DSPy is right now I have not experimented with that in the production thing, just in the research phase.
Yeah.
So, and regarding the evaluation part, deval, you might have a deval. So I've been using that. It is because one of the challenges is the testing for the AI also. What responses a large language model is generating, the traditional testers or the manual testers software, they don't know actually. So there's one more vertical which is waiting to be developed, is the testing for AI. It has a huge potential. And deval, the LLM based approach on testing is working fine, and it is open source also.
And that's D eval. I haven't heard of that one.
DEval.
Okay.
Uh, Let me just tell you the exact spelling. It is deep eval, DEEP, deep eval. I can.
Yeah, okay. I know deep eval. All right, yeah, for sure. Okay, I for some reason was understanding D eval.
Yeah, actually, I
So,
was pronouncing it wrong.
yeah,
Apologies.
nice. So these are some of your favorite, non-favorite, and that's very good to know. It is awesome to hear about all of this. Is there anything else that you want to say before we jump off? Anything that any wisdom you can impart on us for your RAG systems and how you have learned the hard way? So tell us so we don't have to learn that way.
Just go. Don't go with the marketing. Don't go with the marketing. Do your own research. Hugging Face is a good, I mean, just fantastic. The leaderboard, although everything does not works in the leaderboard also. Say for example, I don't know about today and tomorrow, today and yesterday, but there was a model from Salesforce, the embedding model from Salesforce. It is still topping charts, I think, in the on the MTEB leaderboard for the embedding models, but you cannot use it in the production. It is way too huge to implement it. So what's the use? Mixed breed AI, the mixed breed AI, they are very lightweight, and they are working fine. They're not even on the leaderboard. They were on the leaderboard, but they're right. They might not. When I saw, they were ranking on around 7 or 8 on the leaderboard, MTEV leaderboard, but they were working fine. So even on the leaderboard thing, it does not works.
And right now, it feels a little bit like, especially when it comes to embedding models, you just kind of go to the leaderboard and you close your eyes and then you pick one of them. Have you figured out a way to better test these, or do you just find one and then try and use it everywhere?
No, no, that is not the case actually. What I do is that I need to find the, the first the embedding model. Try to find the embedding model based on my use case. Like if it is an embedding model on a medical use case more, so I try to find that. But the second factor to filter that is the size of that embedding model. Because at the end, if I'm doing the entire POC or the entire research with that embedding model, what, and it has happened to me that we did entire research with embedding models, large language models. At the end, we have to remove everything just on the production part,
Mm,
and it just went in smoke, everything.
mm,
So a lightweight embedding model, especially the one which has started working recently, is that the Cohere embedding models, and they have given a facility to call those embedding models in a quantized format. So that is also working, and fast embed is one of the things which is by Quadrant. These two things are working in the production. I'm talking in the production. For research, you can do anything.
brilliant, man. Well, this has been great. I really appreciate it, Assad. Thank you for coming on here. And for anybody else that would like to come on to the Vector Space Talks, just let us know. In the meantime, don't get lost in vector space. We will see you all later. Have a great afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are. Assad,
Yeah.
you
Thank you.
you taught me so much, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.